Hi, my name is Elizabeth. Welcome to my channel. Today I am planning what I'm going to be growing in my garden next year and kind of going through my plans for the garden and doing a little bits and pieces there. So I hope you enjoy this episode. I have just been to my local Hilliers and they had half price sale on their seeds. So I have stocked up for next year. I thought I'd share with you what I have bought. So here we go. Now that I've laid everything out, I've realised that I've bought more than I expected. So this year I've planted basically nothing in the garden. I've tried planting some different salad pieces. None of that seems to have germinated, and I think they're old seeds, which is why I've kind of gone out and replaced everything. My tomatoes are doing okay, but I didn't plant those from seeds. My dad gave me those plants. I've got one courgette plant, which my dad gave me. That is growing courgettes, but they're about this long and they're really shriveled. And I've been watering that plant like nobody's business. That courgette plant has probably had the most water out of every plant in the garden, and it still isn't doing much. So for next year, I've got two different types of beans. I've got broad beans, which I've never actually grown before, and French beans. I'm not a lover of runner beans. I used to grow runner beans at my allotment and then I'd be overrun with them and I couldn't give them away. And people didn't want them. I didn't want them. So French beans I'll happily eat. Broad beans I've never done before, so we'll see. We've had some of those. In my tall raised bed, it gets a lot of sun and it's higher up, so it's going to be like my hotbed almost. So on that I'm doing different types of tomatoes. It's already got tomato plant in there at the moment. I'm going to do tomato plants along there, along with an aubergine. I have grown aubergines before and they were surprisingly successful. A cucumber. I've never grown cucumber before. I don't know why, because I eat a lot of it. I'm going to do a variety of peppers, both hot and sweet. So I've got those three as well. And then in my actual vegetable patch, I'm going to do some different lettuce types. I'm going to do some leeks. What I didn't pick up because I couldn't find any. I couldn't find any broccoli, which is odd. I'm trying to grow things that I know we eat a lot of. So I need to pick up some broccoli seeds at some point. I will do another courgette plant. Hopefully it's more successful than this year's. And I've also got some squash. I tend to eat a lot of squash. I couldn't find butternut squash. They've already sold out of those. So when I do get my hands on some butternut squash ones, I will do the same. And I might do these towards the bottom of the garden because then they can trail around and not be in the way. So that's the plan with those ones. So now I'm just going to sort them through in order of what needs to be planted when. Then I'm going to make a note of it, and I might actually put some little reminders in my phone diary of when things need to start being sown, which I used to do when I had my allotment, and it was really helpful because I would get that reminder. I'd be like, right, this weekend I'm going to plant X, Y, Z. So I'm going to be doing that. And then hopefully we're going to have plenty growing next year. This is actually what I keep all my seeds in. An old case that my dad got for me. And I've got currently lots of other seeds in there. I'm going to go through these. There is a mixture of, oh look at that, I've already got aubergines. I need to go through all of these and check the dates on them. See, yeah, those ones are going to be out. Because the plants I have been planting have all kind of been out of date because they're ones that I purchased when I first got my allotment. Look, more runner beans, and nothing's grown this year from those, so I need to go through this properly and sort out what needs to be chucked, what I can try again next year, and then what I'm going to be replacing it with. I'm going to be emptying this very tall raised bed in the coming weeks. Maybe earlier than I initially thought. I'm removing these herbs because they're not really herbs that are useful. The only herb that is useful is the sage, and that's kind of dying. The others aren't herbs I would use. There was a thyme in here, but it got killed off because it got taken over by everything else. So today I'm going to harvest as much of this sage that I can and then hang it in my kitchen to dry, and then I can put it into some herb pots to use as seasoning later. I've made some little sprigs of the sage that's left over, and now I'm going to hang it above my oven because the little alcove bit has actually got hooks ready, waiting to hang some herbs. Next year, when I have more herbs to pick from, I can obviously hang a few more up there also to dry. But for this year, we'll just stick with the sage. I'm just at my parents' garden at the moment, and I'm about to pinch a load of hollyhock seeds because they're all going to seed now, which is great. And they had some really, really beautiful coloured ones this year, so I'm going to go around at the very, very tops of them. You can just see the odd flower, so I can see which colours those seeds should hopefully be, but it's never guaranteed. So I'm going to go around, pick a load, put them in an envelope, and take them back to mine. So you see here the little seed pods. So I'm going to nab a few of those, pop them in an envelope, and take them back to mine. I have got my seeds in this little seed packet. I picked quite a lot, but I'm going to scatter them in the front garden and along both sides of the back garden. And I've also got that area once the shed's moved that will be completely empty and we'll have a new bed. So I've got some saved I can put behind for there as well. And hopefully I'll get some in the next couple of years. So I'm going to go outside and sprinkle them around. I've been mentioning for a while about getting some olive trees to go in the very bottom of the garden because it's so hot down there and there's no shade. And there's already a vine down there growing some grapes and lavender that I planted. So I'm going to turn it into like my Mediterranean garden. I'm trying to get some cuttings at the moment of some rosemary to put down there as well. So it's going to be my Mediterranean garden. But today, on the way back from the swimming pool with the little one, we passed the Lidl's, and Lidl's were doing £10 olive trees, and I've seen loads of people get these over the last few years. I was so jealous, and I finally managed to get some. They're not huge by any means, but they will work. So I managed to get 2 of them, which is great. So I'm going to leave them up here for a little while. I'm going to get some pots to put them in because I want them to be movable, and then they will go down in that bottom bit of the garden along with these 2 lavender plants eventually. This one's just going over. I'm going to prune that one probably today actually. This one's still got flowers on it, so I'm not going to prune this one yet. This one's still happily going as it is. And this is the Mediterranean garden in its current state, which is a mess. But we do have the lavender down there that I planted, which seems to be doing absolutely fine. It obviously drains quite well here, which is great. I've got this vine which has got a ton of grapes on it. Whether they're actually going to be ripe enough and whether they're edible is another matter, but it seems to be loving life down here. That bamboo is all going to be moved, so I'll have space down there, so I might put an olive tree there. That bamboo there will also be moved, so I might put a tree that side as well. I think it looks very small, this section, because of all the bamboo, but that will be moved. And in actual fact, the Mediterranean garden is going to come back further. Those posts are just put in there at the moment to stop my daughter getting to the river. But the Mediterranean garden will actually start around about here. So it'll be quite a bit sections there. We'll have the side of the shed here, there'll be a gate here, and then a bit of fencing there, and then from here onwards will be Mediterranean garden. So that rose will be part of the Mediterranean garden, and so will that bay tree as well, along with there is a fire pit thing there which will go there, and there is actually already a place in the ground for that fire pit, but my makeshift ladder is currently in the way. And this is the Mediterranean garden in its current state, which is a mess. But we do have the lavender down there that I planted, which seems to be doing absolutely fine. It obviously drains quite well here, which is great. I've got this vine which has got a ton of grapes on it. Whether they're actually going to be ripe enough and whether they're edible is another matter, but it seems to be loving life down here. That bamboo is all going to be moved, so I'll have space down there, so I might put an olive tree there. That bamboo there will also be moved, so I might put a tree that side as well. I think it looks very small, this section, because of all the bamboo, but that will be moved. I do currently have some rosemary and some oregano, both just sat in a pot of water for the moment. It should sit in here for a couple of weeks and then they should start sprouting roots, fingers crossed. Pinch these from my parents like I do most things. So we'll see how that goes, because then it will save me having to buy some plants. Then they are going, the rosemary will go at the bottom of the garden, possibly some of the oregano as well, because that also quite likes the heat. But then I'll show you where the rest of my herbs will go. That raised bed is going to be empty and will not have herbs in it going forward. I feel like it's a waste of space for that when it could be used for actual vegetables. However, this wall, which is below the bathroom, gets a lot of sunshine. And I've got 2 of these that were left behind by the previous owner. So I'm going to have these fixed below the window next to each other, and I will put a lining in them and then fill them with compost, and then I will have all the herbs in there. I've had to come indoors because it's far too hot outside. So those are my plans at the moment for the garden for next year, for everything that's kind of edible. I still need to prune the raspberries back when they finish. They're currently doing the autumn raspberries at the moment. So once they're done, they'll be trimmed back. I need to decide if I'm keeping the currants where they are. They didn't really get a lot of sunlight. I wasn't expecting the raspberries to take over so much space. So I may have to move the currants to another location so they can actually get some sunlight. And I've got the rhubarb plant, which is doing really well where it is. So I'll probably leave that there, but maybe not have quite so many pots in their current place around the patio. I've got lots of other plans as well, kind of up in the air at the moment on the rest of the garden and what I'm doing, like the patio, for example, and moving the shed and all that stuff. But yeah, those are the plans so far for everything edible and a bit of Mediterranean garden. So stay tuned to see all of this hopefully happen in real life.